Hello, hello. Jess here. I am a professional organizer. For those of you that don't know me, my company's name is Time, Order, Purpose Organizing. Apparently my thing is a little weird today, so I apologize if you have a little trouble viewing this or if it looks a little shaky. But I want to welcome you. This is Ask the Organizer. It is a monthly free Google Hangout where I come in and answer any questions you have around organizing your life, your mind, your family, and anything else you can think of, honestly. So this month we are focusing on doing clothes and closets, in part because it's the changing of the season, right? We're starting to get really into our summer gear as we pull out the bathing suits and the long and short dresses, and we put away the parkas and the snow boots and all of that good stuff. So wanted to come with you today to talk about how do we handle our clothing, especially the seasonal swap. If you have other closets that are giving you trouble, how do we tackle those as well? So if you're watching the replay, I'm probably going to hold out just a few minutes here to let any of our viewers jump on. And so feel free to fast forward a little bit. Want to make sure that we get some people on here and answer any of their questions. If we don't get somebody on in a few minutes, then I'll just start talking about my most recent experience of organizing my personal closet. And we'll put on some music here in the background. So let's see, we're just going to check here, and yeah, so we'll just hang out for a few minutes. Let's see if we can get any viewers on here to ask their questions, and I'm going to jump on Facebook to see if anybody had posted their questions on there. Let's see here. Hope everybody's having a fantastic day today. Okie dokie. Welcome to my house. You can see my exercise bench, and I really need to do something about those wires. It absolutely drives me insane, but I've been neglecting them because I'm not sure if I want to drill a hole in the middle of that shelf so that they go more centered and then have a line underneath it. I'm not really sure how I feel about having a covering over them off to the side. There's the downfall of being a super type A person and needing everything in straight lines and very much symmetrical and very visually pleasing. I'm a visual person. I like to have things clear and crisp. Well, I think I'm going to get started and we'll just chat about, excuse me here, just getting a little situated. And so we'll sit around and I'll talk to you a little bit about my most recent experience with organizing my own closet. Recently, I decided that I would put myself through the organization process that I put all of my clients through. Let's see, we'll pause this in the background. Good old Pandora. So let's see here. Now, of course, I have moved over 30 times in my entire life, which for those of you that don't know, I am 31. And so that's at least once a year. My parents got divorced when I was 2, so if my mom stayed in place for more than a year, usually my dad was moving or vice versa. And I've moved multiple times in single years and things along those lines. In my adult life, this is the first time this apartment that I'm in, my lovely condo, is the first place that I've ever actually renewed the lease on for a full year. And it's pretty interesting for me because having moved all the time on a regular basis, I was regularly going through my items, especially into my adulthood, right? So I always had to take inventory and see exactly what I had and all of that good stuff. Well, in this apartment, I'm on my second or third set of roommates. I lived by myself for a little while, then I brought in an old roommate and his boyfriend. In that process, my now ex-boyfriend, but boyfriend moved in, and then we did some Airbnb when the roommates moved out, and his daughters would come to stay with us on the weekends, and now they're all gone, and I have a new roommate in. And so there has been, and sometimes are, 2 dogs in the house, and there's just a lot of things that potentially don't have a home anymore because they've been moved and juggled and just really bounced around a little bit in the house over the last year, almost 2 years now. So I've decided it would be a good idea to put myself through the organization process. Now, with my clients, I always make them start on values, vision, and purpose. This is so important because we need to understand why exactly we're doing what we're doing. Why is getting organized so important to our end goal? If we have this big, huge vision, which I do, I plan to change the world. And if we have this big, huge vision and we're not organized, our life is not organized, our priorities are not in order, all of these seemingly simple things to put in place or put in order, if we don't have them in place, then it's really, really easy to not get to our end goal, right? To have too many distractions, to have too many things not in place that we can't get to our end goal. And so we need to start with, why do we want to get organized? Why is it so important for us to get organized before we start the organization process? For me personally, I have been doing this consistently for at least the past 2 years, probably much longer than that, but very conscientiously for the last 2 years of really digging deep into my values and my vision and my purpose. And even knowing them as well as I do, as I sat down and did some more of the work that I do with my clients, even more stuff came out, and it was so powerful and just blooming with lots of cool things that I hadn't really put my finger on yet. So there's a whole blog post up about that. You can go to toporganizing.com/blog, and the most recent blog is all about the values, vision, and purpose. And this week we'll be having the one come up of the clothing. And so this past Friday, I took about 2.5, maybe 3 hours, and I went through all of my clothes. What does this look like? How do we do it? Because I know this is a big subject for a lot of people. I personally don't have a lot of clothes. I mean, in comparison to some other people, probably in comparison to the whole rest of my family. But in comparison to other people, I'm sure I have a lot of clothes. I'm used to seeing people with jam-packed closets, over-exploding on the floor, out of the drawers, and all of that stuff. I regularly get rid of clothes. So I didn't have as difficult as a time as some people would. But the process that I took is simple, but not always easy. That's one of my favorite things, right? Next to, you may not be able to control your first step, but you can always control your second. The other thing is that things can be simple but they may not be easy. And this goes with clothing, right? So for me, I had few enough clothing that I could put all of my clothes onto my king size bed, with the exception of my underwear and socks. Went through those later. But I could fit all of my clothing onto my king size bed. And so I did this and categorized it by clothing category. So I had all of my tank tops together, all of my scarves together, all of my pants together, all of my shorts, all of my dresses, all of my, just all of the different categories. And I went through and held each clothing item in my hand, one by one. Personally, I encourage you to take it off the hangers. I was being a little bit lazy because I'm very familiar with my clothing since I have a smaller amount. So I didn't take it off the hangers, but I really encourage you to take everything off of the hangers, take it out, and really have to hold that item in your hands. And now we all are going to have that, like, absolutely yes, I love this clothing, the absolutely no, why do I still have this clothing, and then we're going to have the I don't know clothing. How do we get to both of those categories? Absolutely yes is that you love this item. It makes you feel comfortable, it makes you feel sexy, it makes you feel powerful, it brings you a lot of joy. Whatever that means to you, whatever happiness you can pull from your clothing, if it gives you that, then it belongs in the absolutely yes pile. If you have those clothes that you feel frumpy in, that you itch in, that you're constantly fidgeting in, those are the clothes that need to go in the no pile. Think about it. We all have that skirt where all day long we're just, ugh. And I make the face because I just can think of all of the pain of like it riding up and then you're pulling it down and it just doesn't sit right and it digs into your belly and ugh. We all have those clothes, whether it's a skirt or pants or a top that rolls funny or, whatever. Be conscientious of the last time you wore that outfit and how it made you feel. And if it did not feel good, if you were super self-conscious about yourself, if you were always like just worrying about where it was or how it fit or if it was just making you feel uncomfortable, let it go. And then there's the I don't know pile. Perhaps you need to, the size you're confused on, perhaps you just don't know if it brings you joy or not. For these ones, it's okay. Make a whole pile. And at the end, do a little bit of a fashion show. I encourage you to try on some of the yes, I love it piles first so you can really embrace and remember the joy that the clothing can bring into your life, into your day, and then compare that to that I don't know pile. So if you just tried on like your favorite shirt, and it just makes you so excited and you feel so good and you're ready for whatever the day has to come. And then you put on a shirt in the I don't know pile. And, you feel a little stiff and maybe you feel a little questioning or you just don't feel it. Because sometimes we have those items that are just like, well, I guess. If you're, I guess, Kimberly Alexander, she says all the time, if you're not a hell yes, you need to be a hell no. Or something along those lines. That's totally paraphrased. But basically, if you're not all in, it should be a no. Right? So if you're not 100% I love this item, then let it go. And I know everyone's like, I'm not going to have any clothing left. But you'd be surprised. A lot more of your clothing brings you joy than you would imagine. And if you're not getting joy out of the clothing that you have, then you really need to go see my friend Melissa Cyrus because she helps people identify what type of body they have, identify what type of clothing is going to fit right for them, and put together that really basic, stylish outfit or wardrobe, if you will, and be able to build on that. So I have some great connections for you if you're having some issues around this whole closet clothes area, right? It's really scary sometimes to think about, like, well, most of my clothing, for somebody that doesn't have a lot of money, maybe most of your clothing is hand-me-downs, and so you only have so much to work with. Perhaps you are a creative type and you can, sew some things together or make some alterations so that you can love that piece. Maybe you really love the fabric or the pattern or something along those lines, and you can incorporate that into something else so that you're really building something that you love. So that was the first and foremost, right? So we went through each category individually. So if you can only do tops, or if you don't have enough time for that, and you can only do your tank tops, or you can only do your t-shirts, or whatever it is, be conscientious of the time frame that you have. For me, it only took me 2.5 hours, I believe, from I actually started taking everything out before I took before pictures, so I had to put everything back into the closet, take the before pictures, and then take everything back out again, which was part of the reason why I didn't take stuff off the hangers. But 2.5 hours is really not bad to go through all of your clothes, my dressers, my closet, my coat closet, like everything. I went through all of my clothing. I don't think I got to the like the winter, like hats, scarves, gloves, that type of thing, but that's for another day. And so, that was everything in the laundry. Anything that I knew, clothing-wise, I went through it. And so pay attention to how much time you have. If you can devote 3 hours, you can probably get through half of your closet. If you cannot devote 3 hours, pick one category, find everything in that category, and then go through all of it together. So go through all of your underwear, go through all of your socks, go through all of your tank tops, all of your jeans. Pick one specific category and go through that. Now, this is going to be a little bit more difficult when it comes to finding the right spaces. Now, as an organizer, I ended up switching some stuff around when I did my rehaul, or whatever you want to call it, decluttering, because I realized that my bras didn't really have enough room and space in the place they were, so I switched around some of my drawers, and now it works a little better. Of course, I'm still going to the other drawer every once in a while, so I still have to work on retraining myself, but it's totally worth it because everything fits a lot better and looks better. Now we get back to what do we do when it's all gone through, right? The storage part. How do we maintain all of our clothing? Because there's different mindsets on this, right? Hang as much as you can. Put as much as you can into dressers, or use cubbies or whatever. There's so many different thoughts and ideas on this, and it's going to depend upon your space and what you like. How visual are you, or do you like everything to be hidden away? If you're visual, try and hang a lot of stuff, or get open containers where open things where you can do stuff. You can still be a visual person and work with dressers. It's all about folding, and if you've ever read The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo, or her second book, Spark Joy, she talks about folding so that all of your clothes are lined up like this, so that they're vertical instead of being stacked on top of each other horizontal. Because what happens? Then we have to pull it out and things all, fall apart, or we can't see everything. And I've had my drawers set up like this for a while now, probably since I've been out here in Colorado, I think. And it is life-changing. It's so amazing to be able to pull out the drawer and be like, oh, I want this shirt today. And nothing falls over and nothing gets unfolded. And we really have amazing efficiency with it, because you can see everything that you have. And it's much easier to work in those parameters. What else can I tell you? There's lots of fun things about clothes, right? There's different ways that we can hang things or display things, and with your tank tops, is it easier to put them all um, in a drawer, or do you hang them? I've seen using the shower curtain, the holders. I don't know what they're called. Why is that mistaking my brain right now? But either way, the things that you put your shower curtains up with, you can utilize those and put them all on a hanger, um, or hang them, one on top of each other. That way, um, there's all sorts of cool ways. Sweaters, folding them or hanging them. I don't like the pointy shoulders when you hang up your sweaters. So what I do is I fold them in half the long way, and then I wrap the sleeves around the top of the hanger up here. So if the hanger's up here, right, that's your top of your hanger, the armpit goes here, and I wrap the sleeves and the body around the hanger, and I get no lines, and it's amazing, and I get no pointy shoulders because those are awful, and um, it doesn't mess up the fabric. It doesn't stretch it out or anything along those lines. One of the other greatest tips, I used to be a sock roller, right? A sock folder over. You fold them over, and how often do your socks lose their elasticity at the top because you're constantly folding them over? So now I just fold them in half and stack them vertically, not horizontally. And it's amazing because they stay tight. You don't have to worry about losing your socks off of your ankles because the ankle part is so stretched out, which is really wonderful. Or if you have high socks, then just slouching down your leg. I mean, sometimes that happens regardless, but great tips from that book, Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, on just how to fold, and wonderfulness there. So with closets, always use your vertical space. So if you have shelves on top, it's great to use those. If you have a shelf and there's like 9 extra feet above, consider putting, another set of shelves on there, or build in a shelf. I have basically like a shoe rack on my shelf in the closet, which you can see in the pictures that I'll post in the blog post this week. Again, toporganizing.com/blog to see those. And just lots of really cool ideas. Pinterest is amazing if you're ever looking for ideas on how to utilize your space better, or you're welcome to reach out to me. I am always excited to just chat and give you some ideas. I am full of ideas. Some of them are amazing, some of them are not so much, and you can pick and choose whichever ones work for you. So what else clothing wise? Where can you get rid of clothing? That's a big thing, right? We're like, I paid some good money for this, or maybe stuff has holes. What do I do with it? So there are different options depending upon where you are as far as what you can do with your clothing. The first one, obviously, is throwing it out. If it's in really bad shape, if it's holey, if it has stains, just get rid of it. There are some states that will take textile donations for like totally beat up textiles. I know Washington and Oregon, I believe, both of them do it. And so if you can, research in your state specifically to see if there's any place to donate used textiles, because that's a great way to minimize waste. I've always used like old t-shirts as rags and things along those lines. If you have the space to hold on to. I mean, don't hold on to 20 t-shirts as rags. You don't need that many, but just cut them up, and then you have some rags for washing the car, or whatnot. Another great thing that you can do with your old t-shirts, if they're like soft and you really just don't want to get rid of them, and they're not holey, you can turn them into pillowcases, which is kind of cool. If you're not like everything has to be matching type of person. And or if, it's like you can make a quilt out of your band t-shirts, or you can, do some sort of design if you have a whole bunch of like artwork, bunch of stuff from a specific event, like if you have keychains and ticket stubs and all that stuff, put it into a shadow box. That's pretty cool. So there's all sorts of stuff that you can do if you want to hold on to the memory, right? But if you're just looking to let things go, consignment is a great option for some of your type of clothing. And basically how that works is generally you go in and you get a percentage of whatever they sell it for, and the price decreases the longer it's been in the store. For a lot of them, you generally have to set up a time to come in, and they'll pick and choose which ones they want. You have your higher end consignment stores, and then you have places like oh goodness, I'm drawing a blank. There's Plato's Closet, where it's like all young adult clothing and things like that, so you can get some money there. What else? You can just donate to ARC, Goodwill, Salvation Army. Any of those are always generally happy to take your slightly used, in good condition clothing. The same with if you have a homeless shelter. This is my personal preference. There's nothing wrong with ARC or Salvation Army or Goodwill or any of those, but what I find is that it's always resale, right? So the people most in need of stuff generally can't even afford the $5, $7, $10 for the items that we're giving to Salvation Army, Goodwill, and ARC, or Savers, or wherever you donate to. So if we can give them directly to a homeless shelter, homeless family shelter, a battered women's shelter, there's all sorts of options there, and some of them only take certain things, so you'll have to research your favorite cause and see how you can donate to them. The great thing is that they're being able to be used immediately. So people that may have lost everything or didn't have anything to begin with, they get to come into these shelters and they get to really build up a life. They get to get some kitchen utensils, they get to get some clothing, some decorations, maybe some small furniture. And so when you're getting ready to get rid of anything, clothing, furniture, kitchen stuff, whatever it is, I highly encourage you to look into a homeless shelter near you. Homeless family shelter, a battered women's shelter, whatever specificity meets your heart, right? So wherever your heart is, I personally give to the homeless family shelters because I want to be able to help the children just as much as the parents. And there's all sorts of reasons behind that, which I won't get into tonight, but I'm happy to tell that story. If anybody's interested, just message me, and I'd be happy to sit down and share some of my story with you. But so those are different options for where you can bring some of your donations. We have a lot of great places here in Denver where you can donate to, or you have the option to do like a garage sale, right? So if you're going through the rest of your stuff in your house and you have furniture and books and all this other stuff that you want to let go of too, garage tag sales, whatever they are, there's community ones a lot of times that happen around this time of year that you can get it into, or your church may be having one. Church is another great place that you can donate stuff to. So just check those out. I honestly don't have too much more to say about this. I haven't seen any visitors pop in just yet. So I am probably going to wrap it up here. If you're watching the replay, thank you so much. If you have any specific questions, please feel free to reach out to me, jessica@toporganizing.com. And I hope everyone has a great day, and we'll catch you next month. It's going to be, let's look it up here, June. I want to make sure I give you the correct date. It will be June 28th, again from 7:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time. So feel free to come find us on the Facebook page. We will have the Google Hangout there. Just get the link and jump on with us. We'd be happy to have you. And as always, we will post the replay afterwards. This will be posted on Facebook, and the replay from June 28th will be posted up there too. So look forward to chatting with you soon, and have a fabulous evening.